What is the
Is that too?
No, it's actually very good to have the bottle. Turn the label towards me. What's the old world, new world split in Chianti? Does that exist? Does it exist elsewhere?
Well, because I've done a couple of vintages in Australia and like the whole atmosphere of Australia and the way they make wine and the passion they have. I've got sort of 1 foot in the old world and 1 foot in the new world. 1 foot in the old world because, you know, the traditional and the appellation, it's something to hang on to. But the problem with the appellation is that you, as I was saying, you're tied down into what you do. You know, the DOCG, I have a friend who makes an amazing Chianti Classico, and he wanted to express himself by putting it into a Burgundy bottle because his style is more like a Pinot Noir style, which is what Sangiovese should be like. And the DOCG, it has to be in a Bordeaux bottle, which you go, why? They're both French bottles. They're both, you know, if it's going to go into a traditional Chianti bottle, it should go into a Fiasco, if anything. But you know, the appellations, and we have to use cork. So if we want to experiment with screw cap or with any other closure, which nowadays is probably necessary, it limits you to certain things. So there's a sort of blinkered way of looking at things in the appellations, and it's the old world just trying to hang on to what it had when when we should really be looking at the new world and learning something from the new world and saying, okay, let's take that from them and that from them, and we really need a little bit more openness in our approach. Whereas the new world is suffering now because they've Australia, wherever, they've planted and planted and planted and planted in places probably they shouldn't be planting. Whereas here we're limited to an area which is you could probably plant here almost anywhere and the vines would be beautiful. Whereas in Australia, you know, they rely on irrigation, and so now they've got drought and it's a bit of a mess. So, you know, the new world has its advantages and also has its disadvantages, as well as the appellation as well. It's obviously, it helps being in Chianti Classico because you've got a name. But once you've established a wine, it would actually be very nice for people not to think about Riesling as being Chianti Classico, but to think about Riesling as being Sangiovese, one of the great Sangioveses, and not buy it because it's Chianti Classico. Just because it's, you know, if you think about the great wines of Italy, I mean, if you think about Sassicaia, considered one of the great wines of Italy, it's Cabernet. I'm not sure how many people know it's Cabernet. If they go out into a restaurant, buy it, but you just buy Sassicaia. So, I mean, that would be my idea. Would be great. Let's go and have a bottle of Riesling, wherever it comes from.
So you're split between old world, new world. It sounds like you're pulling from the new world. You've talked more about marketing from the new world than you have from winemaking.
Okay, winemaking. No, I'm more old world winemaker. I think I went to New Zealand to see how they make Pinot Noir. I've been to Burgundy to see how they make Pinot Noir. I feel Sangiovese's. There are the three great red wine varieties for me is Pinot Noir, Nebbiolo, and Sangiovese, and then closely followed by the Rhone varieties, made in the Rhone. But the three varieties, Sangiovese, Nebbiolo, and Pinot, are very, very difficult grapes to get right in the vineyard. They're very difficult to if you overcrop, they become all fruity and strange. If you undercrop, they become too powerful. So they're very, very complicated grapes. You have to do it in the vineyard. The winemaking I'm doing is more old world Burgundy than anything else. You know, with a switch towards the new world because we're using plastic bins. We're getting in there with our feet, and you know, it's just picking the things from where you've been, where you've traveled. Important is to travel and see as much as you can. I wouldn't call my winemaking new world. We don't use tannins. It's all natural. It's you go to Australia and they're throwing in bucketfuls of stuff, which we don't do. It's all natural yeast and natural ferment, and nothing else. So I think that the new world it probably is more marketing rather than winemaking, because we're a little bit jealous of the success they've had as an old world producer, especially in an area which is well known but still has an image problem. I think Chianti Classico, like we were talking about last night at dinner, the Liebfraumilch, Blue Nun stuff from Germany. Germany's managing to get over that, but they've suffered for a long time. And Chianti Classico is the same. We're managing to get out of the light fruity fiasco wine. But even though people still ask me, why is your wine at that price? It's very difficult to say, Chianti Classico at this price level, why? Which is a shame. This is why, nobody asks about the price about Sassicaia. We're linked to Chianti Classico, but we really need to think about our own brand.